I have a lot of scary stories that have happened to me and my family, but for now, I'll tell one that's been on my mind ever since it happened to my aunt. For a little context, my Aunt Kimnat, her actual name claims, she has some kind of hex on her. One night, Aunt Kim and her youngest daughter, Lily, were home alone, sleeping in their rooms. My aunt's room is at the end of a long hallway. She woke up in the middle of the night to get a glass of water and made it halfway through the room. She stopped dead in the living room when she looked up and saw a pale lady in a blue dress with a completely distorted face, standing right in the kitchen doorway, pointing a finger at her. My aunt blacked out. When she finally tuned back in or woke up, she was sitting in her car, parked right in the middle of some train tracks. When she realized where she was and checked the time, it was exactly 3 a.m. Terrified and in tears, she called a friend who managed to calm her down. The friend asked where Lily was and if she was with her in the car. She wasn't. Lily was back at the house, completely alone. When my aunt raced back to the house, she realized she had left the front door wide open. She ran inside and found Lily sitting on the couch. Apparently, Lily had woken up and tried to get her mom's attention as she was walking out of the house. But my aunt didn't even acknowledge her, she just walked past her like a zombie. They stayed at my other aunt's house. This isn't a supernatural story, but it's one of the most disturbing experiences of my life. A few years ago, early one morning around 5 a.m., I was walking to my bus stop. It was dark and misty. I was just internally debating something trivial, like whether to get my Starbucks before or after my commute. As I approached a dimly lit corner, a tall man in a black mask stepped out of a dark alleyway to my left. I was sleepy and disoriented, so I barely even acknowledged him at first. Then he shouted,
"Put down your fucking purse,"
and pointed a gun at my head. Everything started to click. He told me to put down my bags, and I just kept saying, okay, I'm putting them down. He ordered me to walk toward the alley and get on the ground. My heart was beating 1,000,000 miles a minute. I knew I had to get away, but my mouth wouldn't stop working. I kept telling him, look, I'm on the ground, my stuff is right there. Please, just take it. But he didn't like that.
"Shut the fuck up,"
he screamed. He got on top of me and pressed the gun to my head. Now, I should mention, I was on my way to coach a high school practice. So I was dressed in huge baggy pants, a hat, and a jacket. I looked like a teenage boy. But as he got on top of me, something shifted. I could just tell it clicked for him that I was a woman. He got off me, stood up, and pointed into the dark alleyway.
"Come with me,"
he said. My stomach dropped. I knew about the recent assaults nearby. My internal voice screamed, there is no way in hell you're going down there without a fight. He hollered at me to follow him. So I did what I do best. I talk. "I'm coming, I'm following you," I called out. He made a crucial mistake. He actually believed me. I took 2 tiny steps backward toward the sidewalk. He turned his body and his gun toward the alley, and that was my moment. I tucked my head down in case he started shooting and just started sprinting as fast as I could. I heard a high-pitched wailing scream before I even realized it was coming from me. I ran 6 or 7 blocks before heading back to my apartment, praying he hadn't seen where I lived. The police checked the alley an hour later, but he was long gone. The only evidence left was a banana I had been eating, browning in the dirt. I'd be lying if I said it doesn't still bother me. I'm just fortunate to be haunted by the what-ifs instead of the what-dibs. At the time, I think I was 7 or 8 years old, and I was hanging out with my best friend. In my house, we had this awesome basement where we always spent our time. One afternoon, we were home alone, just hanging out like usual. We opened the door and walked down the stairs into the basement. In the past, we'd always joked about hearing weird noises coming from the cellar under the basement stairs. It always scared us, but we never really thought anything of it. Anyway, we were just playing in the basement when we heard that noise again. It sounded like a man's voice or something deep. We were totally freaked out, especially since no adults were home. We eventually got up enough courage to open the cellar door to see if anything was there. Nothing was, so we brushed it off and continued playing. But soon after, we heard it again. Now we were really scared. I told my best friend I was going to get my iPad and record to see if we could catch anything. I grabbed my iPad, opened the cellar door, and turned on the light. I propped the iPad up, hit record, and we slammed the cellar door shut. We were so terrified that we ran all the way upstairs and stayed there while the video recorded for about 6 minutes. Finally, we went back down, opened the door, and stopped the video. We sat down together, scared out of our minds, to watch the footage. The video looked normal for about 15 seconds until you could hear us walking away. Right as we exited the basement, the video just went black. Completely black. It stayed that way for the entire recording until you could hear us walking back down the stairs at the very end. Then, the video just went back to normal. It wasn't like the light had gone out. It looked like something had physically covered the camera lens. It was especially weird because there was absolutely nothing in the way of the iPad when we left it. I'm still weirded out by it to this day.